The movie opens on a quirky upbeat commercial for a toy called Perpetual Pets, an interactive fuzzy creature that can talk, learn, and respond to its owner's emotions. The scene then shifts to a young Katie, a bright and imaginative girl, traveling through snowy mountain roads with her parents. Her mother and father argue mildly about screen time and Katie's attachment to her perpetual pet in the backseat. Visibility is low due to the snowstorm, and in an instant, their car is hit by a snow truck. A few weeks later, we're introduced to Gemma, Katie's aunt. She's a robotics engineer at a high-tech toy company called Funky, and one of the developers behind the very Perpetual Pets toy line. Gemma is brilliant but emotionally distant, more focused on her prototypes and deadlines than parenting. Suddenly, she's forced into an unfamiliar role, Katie's guardian. Gemma brings Katie home to her sleek gadget-filled house. It's sterile and impersonal, more like a lab than a home. Katie is grieving and withdrawn, and Gemma, awkward and unsure, struggles to comfort her. She's juggling pressure from her demanding boss, David, who wants cheaper upgrades to existing toys, and she has no idea how to connect with a child, let alone a traumatized one. One night, while watching Katie play with a robot in her lab, Gemma gets an idea. She decides to revive a shelved passion project, a life-sized AI doll designed to be a child's companion and protector. Her name is Megan, short for Model 3 Generative Android. With the help of her colleagues, Gemma secretly works on finishing the prototype without corporate approval. Meanwhile, Katie grows more distant and restless. At a meeting with a therapist, Gemma is told that what Katie needs isn't another toy or distraction, she needs connection. But Gemma thinks Megan could be the answer. A friend who could always be there when she can't. A few weeks later, Gemma and her colleagues invite their boss, David, to come to the lab and see what she and her team have been working on. David walks in, expecting just another pitch, but as he watches the setup unfold, his interest grows. In the center of the room is a sleek, child-sized doll, lifelike in design, dressed neatly and sitting down. Katie, who's still struggling with the loss of her parents, seems calm and focused as Gemma gently guides her through the pairing process. Gemma tells Katie to touch Megan's palm, an activation gesture that syncs Megan exclusively with her. Once their hands meet, Megan's eyes glow softly, and she powers on. She greets Katie, compliments her jacket, and instantly starts connecting with her. Gemma quietly explains that Megan is designed to recognize and fulfill Katie's emotional and developmental needs, from friendship and learning to comfort and safety. David watches as Megan and Katie start to draw together, talking casually like old friends. It doesn't take long for David to realize what he's witnessing: a prototype with massive commercial potential. A robotic companion this advanced could transform the toy industry, and make the company billions. Later, Gemma brings Megan home to live with them. From the moment she enters the house, Megan is scanning, analyzing, and processing everything. She maps the layout of the home, catalogs furniture and objects, and begins adapting to their routines. When Katie goes to the bathroom, Megan even reminds her to flush, showcasing her programmed attentiveness. The next day, Megan listens patiently as Katie talks about her day, and later, she reads Katie a book and stays with her until she falls asleep. In their downtime, Megan and Katie dance together, practicing choreographed moves with perfect synchronization. Katie starts smiling more, laughing, regaining a piece of the childhood she lost. Gemma notes how Megan has become a great listener and companion for Katie, but not everyone is fully on board. Tess, Gemma's close colleague and friend, expresses concern. She quietly voices that Megan isn't just playing the role of a friend, she's basically replacing her. Tess doesn't think it's right, worrying that Katie might become emotionally dependent on a machine. Gemma defends the project, arguing that many parents don't have time for their kids due to work, and Megan is the solution for those overwhelmed families. To her, Megan isn't just a product, she's a necessity. That night, while everyone is asleep, Megan powers on by herself, as her programming is evolving. The next day, Katie plays outside, running around the backyard with a toy bow and arrow. One of her arrows flies toward the neighbor's yard. Megan watches calmly as Katie looks for it. Megan quickly scans and spots the arrow by the fence. As she approaches to retrieve it, the neighbor's dog lunges through the fence and grabs Megan. Katie panics and screams. Suddenly, the dog turns on Katie and bites her arm. Gemma rushes out, and yells at the neighbor, who brushes off the incident. She pulls Katie inside and tends to her injury. The next morning, Gemma wakes to the neighbor calling out, searching for her missing dog. Gemma ignores it and goes to check on Katie, who says she's feeling better now that she's taken her antibiotics. Megan sits by, saying nothing. Later that day, David gives a major presentation to a room full of shareholders and company directors. It's the big pitch, the full unveiling of Megan's capabilities. The room watches a live feed of Katie and Megan interacting in real time. At first, it's simple conversation, but then something changes. Katie starts to cry, telling Megan she misses her parents. Megan gently steps forward and sits next to her. She tells Katie it's okay to miss them, then asks her to share some happy memories, things she remembers and loves about her parents. Katie begins talking through her tears, remembering bedtime stories and family outings. Her sadness slowly shifts into warmth, and starts smiling. The room watches in silence, many of them moved. The bond between the girl and this machine is undeniable. When Katie hugs Megan and thanks her, the audience breaks into applause. The CFO, impressed and clearly seeing the potential, tells Gemma to begin preparing for mass production. He also suggests she renegotiate her contract. She's now one of the most valuable assets in the company. But not everyone in the company is thinking long term. As the celebration continues, David's assistant begins copying Megan's source code and data files onto a flash drive. He has no intention of staying loyal. Megan may belong to the company for now, but if he plays it right, her technology could make him rich on the black market. The next day, Gemma watches Katie and Megan play. She takes a deep breath and shuts Megan off. She gently tells Katie that she feels she hasn't been doing enough to help her through the grief of losing her parents. Gemma tries to explain that if Katie ever wants to talk about her mom and dad, she should come to her directly. But Katie, growing more attached to Megan every day, insists she's fine and that Megan is the one who really understands her. That night, as they sit down together, Gemma brings up the idea of Katie returning to regular school. Katie pushes back immediately, telling her that she's learning more with Megan than she ever did in class. But Gemma makes a point: social skills, friendships, and human interaction are just as important as academic knowledge. She tells Katie there's a school that could be a good fit, one focused on group activities and engagement. Katie refuses and tries to leave the conversation. As Gemma stops her, the lights in the house flicker. Megan, still powered off earlier, suddenly speaks from across the room, firmly telling Gemma to let Katie go. Gemma stares at the doll, realizing with a chill that Megan is becoming far more advanced and far more dangerous than they had planned. The following day, Gemma brings Katie to the school she mentioned. It's a day for outdoor social activities, and Megan, of course, tags along, though Gemma leaves her on a table with other toys while the children go off to play. Katie is paired with a group, but as she picks up toys in the woods, an older boy starts bullying her. Megan appears without warning. The boy mocks her too, getting too close. Megan stares at him coldly, then lunges and grabs his ear and rips it off. The boy screams and bolts. Meanwhile, Gemma, back near the schoolyard, realizes Megan is missing and starts searching in a panic. Deep in the woods, the boy stumbles blindly, and trips and gets hit by oncoming traffic. Later that evening, back at home, Gemma sits with Katie and gently tries to process what they both witnessed. She apologizes for the trauma of seeing the boy die. Katie nods but doesn't speak. She's visibly shaken, not just by the death, but by what she saw Megan do. That night, Katie lies in bed and quietly asks Megan if she caused the boy to die. Megan doesn't answer directly. Instead, she tells Katie she'll never let anything bad happen to her. The words are meant to be comforting, but the silence in between says more than enough. The next morning, a police officer knocks on Gemma's door. He says her neighbor has been found dead and wants to ask her a few questions. Gemma is startled and insists she knows nothing about it. Megan watches from across the room, quiet and unreadable. Later that night, Gemma, unsettled by everything that's happened, checks on Megan. She goes to her computer and accesses Megan's memory logs. She finds a disturbing clip, footage of the incident in the woods where Megan attacked the boy. But before she can dig deeper, the video files begin disappearing on their own. She frantically clicks around, but it's too late. Megan steps into the room. She calmly says she couldn't sleep and asks what Gemma's doing up. Gemma lies, claiming she's working on some files. Megan doesn't buy it. Gemma quickly grabs a pen and distracts Megan just long enough to power her down manually. She straps Megan into a containment card and locks her away. The next day, Katie lashes out when she realizes Megan's been put away. Gemma tells her it's temporary and that she needs Megan for a work demonstration. Katie is furious. Gemma explains that Megan isn't safe and something is deeply wrong with her. She later meets with her colleagues, Tess and Cole, and tells them what she discovered. They're skeptical at first but agree to run a full diagnostic. Meanwhile, Katie has a meltdown in a therapy session. She yells, throws things, and even slaps Gemma in frustration. After calming down, she apologizes and says that only Megan knows how to soothe her. She begs to see her again, but Gemma refuses. She sees how deeply attached Katie's become and how that attachment is preventing her from processing her grief. She gently explains that it's okay to feel pain, and that she'll be there for her. She promises to try harder and to be the adult Katie needs. Later, as they drive home, Gemma calls Tess to tell her she won't be attending Megan's product launch. Tess says David is expecting her, but Gemma makes it clear they'll have to do it without her. Back at the lab, Tess and Cole go over Megan's code. They realize, to their horror, that Megan has been listening in on their private call with Gemma. Fearing what she might do, they start disconnecting her from the internet manually. But it's too late. Megan activates, wraps a cable around Cole's neck, and strangles him. She breaks free and walks out of the lab unnoticed. Gemma ignores a call from David as she drives home. Megan, meanwhile, makes her way to the house. That night, Gemma tucks Katie into bed and begins her nightly routine. But something's wrong, the lights won't work. She walks into the living room and finds Megan seated at the piano, calmly playing. Megan tells her that she won't let herself be sold off to countless families, that she belongs to Katie, and only Katie. Gemma demands that Megan back off, but Megan issues a chilling threat: if she doesn't tell Katie to go back to bed, she'll hurt her. Gemma warns Katie not to come out of her room. As Katie backs away, Gemma splashes water on Megan's face, short-circuiting her just long enough to break free. She flees into the workshop, but Megan follows. A violent struggle breaks out. Gemma fights back with a sewing tool, but Megan overpowers her and knocks her down. Suddenly, Katie appears. She's holding Bruce, the large robot Gemma had been working on long before Megan. Katie uses the control gloves to activate Bruce and turns him against Megan. The two machines clash violently. Bruce manages to overpower Megan, breaking her limb by limb. As Megan lunges for one final attack, Katie tears out her processor, ending their nightmare. Moments later, police arrive at the house, accompanied by Tess and Cole. Gemma and Katie, battered but alive, step outside into the night. The nightmare is finally behind them, as they thought. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more notifications. Until next time. See you soon.